Hello, this is Reverend Don Lewis coming to you from beautiful Florida. And today our question comes to us from Mike Gall. And Mike Gall has a follow-up question to an earlier vlog called Happy versus Unhappy, in which we talked about the phenomenon that sometimes a happy person will attract unhappy people who have a desire to sabotage their happiness for various reasons which we discussed. Mike tells us that he is one of those unhappy people and he has caught himself trying to sabotage other people's happiness, and he wants to know if I have any recommendations on how to fix this. And he says he's been trying to fix it, but he would like any recommendations I can give. My answer to this is I very much do have a recommendation, and my recommendation is shadow work. There are all kinds of different ways to do shadow work, but I'm going to give you a particular one, which I recommend that you try. And of course, this is not only for this situation, but can be used for many others. So many other people watching the vlog might want to try it also. And we've talked about it on the vlog before, but it may have been many years ago because the vlog has been here for a long time. So what I would recommend you do is this. Take some time to think about the emotion of unhappiness that you are feeling. Think about your unhappiness and have a piece of paper and pencil handy. And everything that comes to you connected to that unhappiness, write it down. Write it down without judgment, with no preconceptions. Don't worry about whether it makes sense. Just write it down. You can think about it later. It's very much like a meditation. Every emotion that comes to you as you examine your unhappiness, write it on this paper. And in all likelihood, you'll come up with a lot of things. And some of them may be a great surprise to you. They may include things you thought you had already resolved. They may include things you had no idea that you felt. And you want to write these all down, and then you can go through them and look at them, and you want to ask yourself, well, is this really true? Do I really feel this? Do I want to continue to feel this? Do I want to release this? And for all the different things you've written, ask yourself this. And then the following day, and I recommend waiting till the following day, you want to do a ceremonial releasing of these things. And the simplest way to do this is to take the paper on which you've written them all, although you may want to rewrite it if there are some of them that you're not so keen on sending away, because you can pick and choose, and not everything you find is necessarily ready to be released. And some of them may serve you quite well, but most of them will not. You want to take them and you want to burn that paper, and as you burn it, you want to focus on releasing everything written on it. And that would be my first recommendation. Now, also, if you are familiar with soul retrieval, this is another way to release those things. Either technique is for releasing blockages, and that's what you're doing. I was taught this technique many years ago by Lady Crystal, my teacher and my cousin, when I was trying to start a romantic relationship with someone I had known for some time, and they were seemingly receptive, and yet all kinds of weird blockages were happening. And one day we were going to meet for lunch, and I sat there all afternoon wondering where they were, only to find that they had been knocking on the door. And somehow I missed this. And granted, it was an apartment building. They were knocking on the outside door, but it was right under my window. And I don't know how I could have missed it. So I went to Lady Crystal and I asked her, and she said, well, you're blocking this. And this was the advice that she gave me, and it's what I did. And what I found in examining my feelings about romantic relationships is that I had a lot of negative ideas about romantic relationships and the desirability of them. And I certainly was blocking it. And I did the burning to send these away, and things moved forward. Now, it didn't work out especially well, but that's a whole other story. And it was still instrumental in resolving those blockages, and that was a good thing. So this is my recommendation of how to go about working with that unhappiness which is causing you to resent the happiness of others. And I think you'll find that you may be able to resolve it much faster than you think. When you do a burning, it bypasses your conscious mind to work directly with your higher self. And it seems so very simple, but it can be very powerful. And to some extent, soul retrieval is the same way. They're both very powerful techniques that don't on the surface seem nearly as powerful as they truly are. They're very transformative, and I strongly recommend them. So that would be my answer. I hope you find it helpful, and until next time, may you blessed be. The water represents the Correllian virtue of sincerity, being true to yourself and what you believe, walking the walk as well as talking the talk.